afternoon, members of the Committee of General Affairs, members of Parliament, support staff, radio listeners, TV viewers, those following via social media, and members of the media. Welcome to the continuation of the Committee of General Affairs, meeting number 2 for today, Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. I would like to give a special welcome to the Honorable Prime Minister of Sint Maarten and Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Mercelina, and his support staff. We have established a quorum of 5 members. Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have received notice of absence from the following committee members: MP Viren Kotai, MP Irian. I have received notice of lateness from MP Doran and MP York, but MP York is entering at this moment. Are there any notifications? That does not seem to be the case. The agenda points for the committee meeting are: 1. Report auditing public sector travel and Parlatino membership, IS number 324-2023-2024, dated January 9th, 2024. Agenda point number 2, discussion with the Minister of General Affairs on the changes in granting the Dutch nationality on Sint Maarten, IS number 1079-2022-2023, dated September 6, 2023. It is good to know that today's meeting is a continuation of the meeting which was adjourned on November 20th, 2024. We now go over to agenda point number 1. Report auditing public sector travel and Parlatino membership, IS number 324-2023-2024, dated January 9th, 2024. On January 9th, 2024, Parliament received a report from the General Audit Chamber titled Auditing Public Sector Travel and Parlatino Membership. This document has been registered. During the meeting of November 20th, 2024, this agenda point was adjourned to allow preparations by the Council of Ministers on this agenda point. Today, this agenda point 1 will remain adjourned until further notice. We now go over to agenda point number 2. Discussion with the Minister of General Affairs on the changes in granting the Dutch nationality on Sint Maarten under IS number 1079-2022-2023, dated September 6, 2023. On September 6, 2023, Parliament received a letter from MP Wescot-Williams with a request for a committee meeting with the Minister of General Affairs regarding the changes in granting the Dutch nationality on Sint Maarten. The meeting was convened on November 20th, 2024, during which the requester to this agenda point, MP Wescot-Williams, was given the opportunity to elucidate her request. This was followed by some opening remarks by the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Luc Mercelina, and a presentation by civil servants of the Civil Registry. Members of Parliament were then given the opportunity to pose questions to the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs. This meeting was then adjourned to allow the Honorable Prime Minister time to prepare the answers to the questions posed by the members of Parliament. The answers to the posed questions were submitted to Parliament on November 29, 2024, and registered on the IS number 334-2024-2025, and this is available to the members via the General Parliament team. Today, the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Mercelina, has returned to Parliament to provide answers to the questions posed by the members of Parliament at this agenda point in this meeting and give any possible updates based on answers provided in writing in November 2024. I will now give the floor to the Honorable Prime Minister to answer the questions posed by the members of Parliament. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
President of Parliament, Secretary General, members of Parliament, my support staff, and those following on social media, good afternoon. President, as you said, I will start immediately by giving answers to the members of Parliament on the basis of the topic that is today on the agenda. First of all, ex-Member of Parliament, Mrs. Heiliger, had a statement and a question. She stated that there are, at this particular moment, 3 persons registered as stateless. And she was asking how many persons are registered as onbekend. At this particular moment, we have 114 persons living in Sint Maarten registered as onbekend. Her second question was, how are same-sex marriages registered? How does the system support that? When individuals are married within the Dutch Kingdom or the EU countries, the Department of Civil Registry registers the submitted request once all required documents, including the D79 document being the immigration interview, are in order. The system is compatible with registering same-sex marriages in Sint Maarten. Her third question, for kids born in the United States with parents with Dutch citizenship, why is it that with renewal that a birth certificate is needed? Is that information not in the system already? All first-time passport applications must include a birth certificate, even if the individual was only recently registered in the basic administration. For all subsequent passport requests, a new birth certificate will not be required. This requirement applies only for the first-time application for a passport within the basic administration of our country. MP Duran had the following question. Mention was made that someone will not lose nationality if it will make them stateless. I'm aware of instances where persons have lost their nationality. What is done in cases like this? In Sint Maarten, there are until now no recorded cases where an individual became stateless solely due to the loss of Dutch nationality through the Department of Civil Registry. However, there are 3 noteworthy situations that I will like to discuss. The first one is the individual voluntarily renounced their nationality after losing Dutch nationality. There was a court hearing and the person lost the case. The second option is the individual failed to comply with the requirement to renounce their original nationality within 6 months of acquiring Dutch nationality. As a result, the END in the Netherlands issued a letter declaring that their Dutch nationality was considered never acquired. As a result, the IND in the Netherlands issued a letter that this was never acquired, as I say. Following this, the individual renounced their original nationality, thereby becoming stateless. The third option is an individual submitted a fraudulent school certificate during the naturalization process. Consequently, the IND revoked the grant of Dutch nationality. Since the individual had already renounced their previous nationality, they became stateless. The second question of MP Doran. Sint Maarten doesn't control nationality. What happens when they lose passport or ID cards? What are the safeguards in place? Can we then work on a policy? Is this being thought of? Is there any progress in this area? Clarity on a joint policy between CAZ and Justice to safeguard persons in these cases to get ways and means of identification. In these cases, the Department of Civil Registry works closely with the Governor's Cabinet, also with policy advisors and the Justice Department. However, the individuals involved must be willing to cooperate also. Many cases have been resolved successfully thanks to the strong collaboration between these entities. It is important to note that there is no standardized policy for such situations, as each case is unique. In most instances, the individuals do not become stateless, but instead refuses to contact their respective authorities for assistance because they wish to retain the Dutch nationality, which is not possible without their active involvement. The department informs them that once they obtain a passport from their country or of origin, they will receive the proper assistance through the immigration process and subsequently guide them in submitting their request to the governor. It is a collaborative process that requires effort from both parties. Question number 3 from MP Dorang. Only 3 being stateless is interesting. However, I have to trust the data. What do you advise for persons that don't have anything? What advice for persons in this situation? Will there be, for example, an amnesty for these cases? There are only, indeed, in this case, 3 persons in the basic administration of the Department of Civil Registry that are stateless. The department is of the opinion that an assessment should be conducted to determine the number of undocumented individuals in Sint Maarten due to loss of nationality or statelessness. The proposal is for this to be a collaborative effort between immigration and the civil registry to identify such cases. The Civil Registry, as an execution department, is responsible for implementing policies but does not have the authority to make policy decisions. The result of the mentioned assessment can indicate if an amnesty policy is needed. Currently, the question remains whether an amnesty policy is needed. Each case is unique, and in some instances, individuals may hold another nationality but are reluctant to contact their respective authorities. Question number 4. Persons born here or in Jamaica or from Jamaican parents or Haitian parents in certain instances where there is civil war. Where there is civil war. How does this work? Or any other part of the world? How are these things handled in general? Is leniency applicable given their current situation? Yes, leniency is considered in some cases depending on the situation. All relevant information is available on nederlandwereldwijd.nl, which provides details on whether a country is experiencing war, if a Dutch embassy is active in that country, and whether it is possible to obtain documents from there. For example, despite the ongoing crisis in Haiti, the Department of Civil Registry is still receiving documents from Haitian authorities. Haiti has a consul in Curaçao who visits Sint Maarten on a regular basis to assist Haitian citizens with documents such as passports and birth certificates. This demonstrates that even in challenging circumstances, efforts are made to ensure access to necessary documents. Questions posed by MP Wescot-Williams. Given the reference to the numbers between the census data and the civil registry, can we receive an update number with respect to population broken down in various categories? This information has been sent, it's quite some data, was sent and forwarded to Parliament on December the 18th, 2024. A topic that the MP touched on was the pension also for persons who may no longer be here and are abroad. Am I to assume that if that is the case, that the person will be collecting the total amount of pension, albeit a reduced amount if he or she no longer is living in Sint Maarten? The reference is about the persons collecting a full pension as residing here, while this is not the case. The answer is no. The assumption is not entirely accurate. if individuals are still registered in Sint Maarten, even if they have not contributed to the country and are living abroad and continue to submit their taxes annually, SZV may not have information indicating they are residing abroad. In such cases, they may continue to receive the full pension. It is important to know that SZV is very pleased with the collaboration, of course, with the Department of the Civil Registry and working on a cleanup project to address such issues and improve the accuracy of our recording. This initiative aims to ensure that pension disbursements are made based on accurate residency. There are further three different possible scenarios that I would like to give some explanation on. The first one is, if someone who has not yet reached the pensionable age leaves Sint Maarten and is deregistered from the census office, they stop accumulating pension rights. When they turn 65, they will receive a pension based on the number of years they were a resident out of the 50 years during which pension rights could have been accrued. This means they will receive a proportionate amount calculated by the amount of years divided by 50 as a maximum for their pension. The second scenario is some individuals remain registered as residents of Sint Maarten but do not actually live here on Sint Maarten. When applying for an old age pension, they may claim to have resided in Sint Maarten the entire time, being the 50 pension years. If there is reason to believe they were absent for a period, efforts will be made to verify this, and any such years will be deducted from the 50 years calculation, reducing, of course, the pension amount accordingly. If a pensioner is already receiving the full pension and decides to leave Sint Maarten or is already living abroad, that is the third case, their pension amount will remain unchanged. Question number 3. Is the Prime Minister and or another minister aware of the migration needs assessment of Sint Maarten as conducted and reported on the IOM, the International Organization for Migration? Can this report be actually pulled up and inform Parliament on government's reaction and action? Recommendations are made in the report on population and migration and registration. The MP is referencing a report published in 2021 by the International Organization for Migration. In 2018, this organization carried out what they called a comprehensive assessment of migration government needs in 10 Caribbean countries. Subsequently, an assessment was done in 2019 and 2020. In 2020, Sint Maarten was included in the needs assessment. In Sint Maarten, the interviews were conducted in March 2021 with 11 representatives of government ministries, civil society, and the private sector. Interviews with government officials included representatives of the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of S.A, and the Ministry of CAZ. The Fire Department was also included, and the Department of Statistics. Question number 4, revocation of Dutch rights. Are you aware of a case in Curaçao where the Dutch rights were revoked from a person and that person took it to court and the court decided that neither Kransje or the minister could take away the Dutch rights from someone? The Department of Civil Registry confirmed that they are aware of this case. However, it is important to clarify that this is not a case of jurisprudence. It's a court decision regarding a specific case between a citizen and the Civil Registry of Curaçao. The case was reported in the newspaper with the headline, Kransje cannot revoke Dutch nationality. As per Kransje, in the mentioned case, Kransje issued a decision to correct the basic administration of the citizen, who subsequently appealed the decision. However, Kransje failed to respond to the objection. As a result, the claimant lodged an appeal and took the matter to court. the court ruled in favor of the claimant. The conclusion is that the appeal is well-founded. The refusal to issue a decision on the claimant's objection dated April 25, 2023 will be annulled. The court will decide on the matter itself, declare the claimant objection well-founded, and revoke the contestant letter from Kranji dated October 3rd, 2022. This means that the contested letter from October 3rd, 2022 no longer holds legal effect. The case initially concerned a nationality issue. However, Kranji did not handle the matter in accordance with the general principle of proper administration. Due to the lack of diligence in addressing this issue, the court decided in favor of the citizen. The decision in this case has now been provided to Parliament also. It is crucial to involve the Legal Affairs Department in the objection procedure and to ensure timely responses in all appeal cases. For the sake of clarity, in Sint Maarten, we do not revoke a person's nationality. If there is an error, it is corrected by the Department of the Civil Registry, or they proceed according to the law to determine the individual's nationality status. In most cases, it is the actions of the individual that determine the application of the law, and the department must handle the situation in accordance with legal requirements. In regard to the determination of Dutch citizenship, the Joint Court of Justice of Aruba, Curaçao, Sint Maarten, Bonaire, Station, and Sewa is the court that is authorized to determine whether a person possesses or has possessed Dutch citizenship at a specific point in time, pursuant to Article 17 of the Kingdom Act on Dutch citizenship. Question 5, is the revocation done at the Civil Registry or is it channeled through the Netherlands? If this is the case, what happened then in Curaçao? In Sint Maarten, the majority of cases related to revocation of nationality are channeled through the Immigration and Naturalization Service, named the IND. In the Netherlands, as they are the responsible entity for this. However, in certain instances, if there are prior cases or specific circumstances, we may apply the same legal provisions locally. Due to a lack of the diligence, IND was not contacted in this case. Question 6, how many do we have under the category of onbekend? As I said already, we have 114 persons under the category of onbekend. Question 7, given the fact that Sint Maarten is not responsible for nationality, wouldn't it be an idea to also give information on the Dutch nationality and maintaining the Dutch nationality? Give general information to the public with respect to nationality. The Department of Civil Registry is currently, together with the Governor's Cabinet, preparing to organize an information session on Dutch nationality and the process of maintaining it. The planning is to start these sessions at the beginning of 2025, and this general information session and updates will take place on February the 19th, 2025. After that, other information sessions are in the planning and dates will follow when finalized. Question 8, if it is determined that a person loses their right, is there any type of a vangnet for those persons? If it is determined that a person loses their right, the department typically guides them on how to proceed with obtaining the necessary documentation to regularize their situation. The focus, therefore, is on providing support and direction to help them navigate the process effectively. Question number 9. What we see is that we are becoming a country with nice policies. However, these are shelved with no plan of approach on steps to be taken to execute and inform Parliament of its response to migration needs to Sint Maarten. That's true. It is important that we focus on actionable policies with clear steps and transparent communication to address migration needs effectively. It is a fact, of course, that we are in lack of executors at this particular moment, but it has full attention of the government. Question number 10, can any update be given with respect to the street naming project? I have asked an update, but I'm still awaiting the update from the Department of VROMI that has been requested. The moment I have received this update, I will give the answer and forward it to Parliament. Question 11, the reference is made to e-government, governance and digitalization. How close are we to the part of having a PIN by whatever name, a personal identification number, for example? Why can't Parliament be part of the digital government program? The legislative and policy review, as well as technical design for a national digital identity, is expected to start in January 2025. This will then support the implementation of a digital identity solution linked to a unique identifier. And hopefully that is expected to be on the go by the third quarter of 2025. The digital government program was scoped with the support of the World Bank and the NRPB to address fundamental elements that are needed to further support digitalization efforts throughout government and the country. Considering the effort needed to address these foundational aspects, it was not possible to incorporate all digital initiatives under the program. However, through the Digital Leadership Team ICT Department, we are updating our digital initiatives roadmap and would be happy to support and include Parliament as part of this roadmap. Going now to MP Lacruz. Letters will be sent. This needs to be looked into and have a discussion with the post office. Even voting cards were thrown in one mailbox. Government will consult with the post office on this matter. This should be actually a collaboration between the post office and VROMI to reorganize this problem. Please note, however, the Department of the Civil Registry sends the letters to the post office, and it is the responsibility of the post office for the further handling of this. However, I agree, of course, with the Honourable Member of Parliament that it needs to be looked into, and as mentioned, government will meet with the post office and, of course, the Ministry of VROMI, as has been mentioned, to have this discussion and take decisions on the way forward. A meeting, by the way, with the post office is being scheduled coincidentally for next week, and this will be on the agenda. Question number 2, the fact that we treat our kids that eventually at the age of 18 years will be able to request the Dutch nationality, but walk around on Sint Maarten feeling themselves like foreigners. I say they because once upon a time with the Van Rechtswege, a US citizen could have registered and have the same rights and permanent residency while having no ties on Sint Maarten, while our kids have no rights. Our party and MP Roosburg are working on adjustments to the situation, but the leniency from government is also needed. This is primarily a matter for immigration. However, from the perspective of civil registry, there are situations where children are born on Sint Maarten to foreign parents who do not take the necessary steps to obtain their children's documentation from their home country. That is also a reality that we encounter on a regular basis. This lack of action can complicate the process. If the parents had secured the appropriate documentation, it would have facilitated the child's ability to obtain a residence permit. Once the child reaches the age of 18, they would then be eligible to apply for Dutch nationality through the option procedure. Question number 3 from MP La Cruz. I do understand the cleanup that is necessary, but what happens when an individual cannot receive a birth certificate from places like Venezuela, Haiti, or the Middle East? What is the plan of government to deal with that situation? Are they granted leniency? Are there solutions for these problems? This information is not known for the general public. Maybe there can be an app that persons can go through where persons can indicate how long they have been on the island, provide their documents, etc. I consider sharing this information very important. Therefore, I would like to repeat my answer previously given. All relevant information is available on nederlandwereldwijd.nl, which provides details on whether a country is experiencing war, if a Dutch embassy is active in that country, and whether it is possible to obtain documents from their country. For example, despite the ongoing crisis in Haiti, the Department of the Civil Registry is still receiving documents from Haitian authorities. It's important for us to know that. Haiti has a consul in Curaçao who visits Sint Maarten on a regular basis to assist Haitian citizens with documents such as passport and birth certificates. This demonstrates that even in challenging circumstances, efforts are made to ensure access to the necessary documents. Also, I can inform Parliament that the Department of Civil Registry and the Governor's Cabinet is working together to organize information sessions on Dutch nationality and the process of maintaining it. There will be a general information session on the updating of documents on February the 19th, 2025. Other information sessions are in the planning and dates will follow when it's so far. MP Irion had also a few questions. The first question of MP Irion suggests even a chat box on the government website where persons can type into it, where there is a preloaded information. Suggests that DCOM work with the civil registry when it comes to communication. Of course, we can explore the possibility of incorporating this feature through the e-government platform. A chat box is a good idea. In the short term, however, DCOM will work together with the Public Service Center to come up with a frequent ask question session. Once these questions and answers have been formulated, they can be sent to DCOM, Webmaster, and Computec to handle the template and structure. I can also inform Parliament that I have received an extensive draft communication plan from the DCOM and the Public Service Center, which I will discuss with them, and the final product will be presented to Parliament. Question number 2 from MP Irion. Letters being sent where persons are worried about being deregistered. Letters are being delivered late. Have to look into the post office as to whether persons are actually receiving letters. Recommend a communication program with DCOM. Create a strategy to be able to communicate with individuals, in particular as it pertains to the deregistration. The mentioned concerns were already addressed in my previous answer just now. I can inform Parliament that creating a strategy would likely require increased manpower to manage and execute the communication efforts efficiently. I have received an extensive draft communication plan from DCOM and from the PSC, which I will discuss with them, and the final product will be presented also to Parliament. Question number 3 from MP Irion also. Where are we with the eGov and how is it being connected to our tax system? And in the meantime, can't we now just start to consolidate all the various entities, such as Chamber of Commerce, AZV, etc.? The e-governance project is currently transitioning from a procurement phase to a design and implementation phase. through the support of different experts, we are expected to start in February with the review and drafting of legislation and policies, as well as technical designs in the areas of digital ID, e-signature, and data exchange. The project will deliver these and other fundamental solutions that would be available to other digital systems, including, for example, the tax system, which would assist in simplifying and improving the processes. The project has already started to engage with various internal and external stakeholders in an effort to improve collaboration so that service delivery and processes can be enhanced through the solution delivered within the project. Please note that the Civil Registry has already provided various government departments, including the tax office, with access to the basic administration of persons, actually what we call the inkijkfunctie. And then the last questions from MP Roosburg. Communication is very important and the public needs to understand the procedures and possible in the language that they understand it better. Perhaps, of course, in their own language. I can agree with the Honourable Member of Parliament with this statement. I can inform the MP that I have received an extensive draft communication plan from the DCOM already and from the PSC, which I will discuss and later on, once we have a good understanding on it, present it to the members of Parliament. President of Parliament, I think and I hope that I have adhered to giving questions to the answers of the members of Parliament and would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Is there any need for a round of deliberation on this matter? If that's the case, I see that that's the case. MP Wescot-Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady, and a good afternoon to you and our support staff. A good afternoon to my colleagues here in the meeting. A good afternoon to the Prime Minister and his support staff. Welcome to this meeting. A good afternoon to all. Madam Chair Lady, through you to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, is it possible that we receive an overview of the mutations in the population of Sint Maarten over the year 2024? So the starting position, the changes based on whatever incidences, and then the amount as per December 2024. Secondly, Madam Chair Lady, if the Prime Minister can request and provide us with an update on the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, Dutch-American Treaty, actually. If we can receive an update on that. I think I posed this question in a previous meeting, but I have not received an answer per se. But I would like to know what is the status of that, because I remember, maybe it was to the Minister of Justice, recalling that while many persons feel that this treaty is not reciprocal, yes. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Nevertheless, it is applicable. And so I would like to know a status on it. We have seen where several years ago, someone successfully on Sint Maarten claimed that treaty or claimed rights on the basis of that treaty. And yes, so if we can get an update on that. And there is also a treaty between the Kingdom and the United States of America regarding Social Security. Let me add that I know that in the case of the latter, it is only applicable to the European part of the Kingdom. But I would like to know if via the Kingdom government, the Prime Minister can ascertain some information regarding this existing treaty, albeit that it actually applies to the Netherlands as a country, because it states it's applicable to the European territory of the Dutch Kingdom. So I would like to know, especially given the happenings of late, globally speaking, I would like to really get an update on those treaties. And again, I know the one regarding Social Security does not apply to the countries in the Caribbean, or at least that was not the intention when it was first signed off and ratified. Yet I would like to know regarding it, regarding that treaty. And Madam Chair Lady, that's it for now. Those few additional questions to the Prime Minister, while thanking him for the information, which, as you indicated, was also provided via IS 334, I believe it was. So thank you very much.
Thank you, MP Wescot-Williams. Is there other member of parliament that would like to have the floor? That seems to be the case. MP Otley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I don't really have any question. I just want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his answers. Some of the answers I found very enlightening. As you know, Madam Chair, yourself and my person have submitted two draft legislations to address the issue faced by many, being one stateless, being two born in St. Maarten for many, many years and have no documents. So some of these answers actually answered questions that the advisory body requested my person to ask. So I thank you for the information provided to you. Thank you to you and your staff.
Thank you, MP Otley. I now give the floor to MP Doran.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Good afternoon to you, my colleagues, the Honorable Prime Minister, support staff, and the people of Sint Maarten that are tuned in. Madam Chair Lady, I heard a response given by the Prime Minister regarding registration and the deregistration, actually, which was posed by our faction. I would like to get some clarity on the point through you, Madam Chair. Is it possible for civil registry to deregister someone without their permission while they were actually in person at the civil registry? Is that possible? And if so, what procedure, policy, or rule can be used in order to deregister someone? What are the different steps that can be taken to deregister someone? Thank you.
Thank you, MP Doran. I'm not seeing that there are other members that would like to have the floor. Oh, sorry. MP La Cruz, you have the floor.
A blessed evening. Good afternoon. It feels like evening already. A blessed afternoon, Madam Chair Lady, Rifir, Prime Minister, and the support staff, my colleagues, and those listening. Madam Chair Lady, through you to the Prime Minister, thank you for the answers to the questions that I asked. And there is one more question that came to me about a week ago concerning people that left or that are living in the U.S. that during the census were written out and cannot write into the U.S. because they're studying or doing whatever, but now are now written out of Sint Maarten also. So if there's a plan for that, and what would these individuals have to do, seeing that they can't even renew their passports being away in the embassy because they're not written in and also not written in here. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP La Cruz. At this point, there are no other members that would like to have the floor. The questions that were posed by the members of Parliament, Prime Minister, would you be able to answer them right away, or do you need some time? If so, how much time would you need? You have the floor.
Actually, there are four questions. One is, of course, we need more time, especially for the first one, that we will have to go back and check all the invitations that MP Sarah Wescot-Williams asked over the year 2024. We have to look into the treaty that the MP asked for too. And for these two, I can send them, if you agree, Madam President, for me to send them in writing to Parliament. And of course, also combine it immediately with the procurement has to be followed, as MP Duran asked for the deregistration and the authority of the civil registry concerning the whole procedure of deregistration of persons here in Sint Maarten. And of course also the procedure about the writing out of the census. How does that work if they're written out after the census and they're in the United States, they're not getting through with their papers? What is the advice and the process that we have to follow to get it straight back? So if you don't mind, President, I would like to, if you agree with, to send all these in writing for you. And I think in 1-2 weeks I will have this ready for you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Before coming to that conclusion, I would like to know if there's any objection to receiving the answers in writing. And I'm also seeing that MP Wescot-Williams would like to have the floor. You have the floor, MP Wescot-Williams.
Thank you once again, Madam Chair Lady. And it was actually to request or suggest that the answers, at least my answers, can be sent in writing. I'm glad to hear the Prime Minister even given a time frame. I think that's important for the answers. And secondly, I want to revert back to something the Prime Minister indicated, and that is some information sessions regarding the Dutch nationality in collaboration with the Office of the Governor. And I just wanted to thank the Prime Minister because I had asked if that could take place to explain all those interested persons. And so I am glad to hear that. Did I hear, let me ask this first, if that one had taken place and it is to be followed up? So has such an information session taken place to be followed up in February? And I would just like whether that is, but in any case, it's to say thanks for having started that process. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Wescot-Williams. Prime Minister, would you be able to answer that question from MP Wescot-Williams?
I appreciate the acknowledgement in the first place, and secondly, the first session will take place on the 19th of February 2025.
Thank you, Prime Minister, and I'll give the floor to MP Duran.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. In principle, I don't have an issue with receiving the answer in writing, but I think the point where what are the procedures for deregistration, I mean, you can't tell me that that would be something too difficult to, give a response now. The reason why I'm asking that, Madam Chair, is because although not being in the executive branch, time and time again, as representatives, we receive calls and concerns from individuals, which I received one most recent, which was quite disturbing. I was basically told that someone was deregistered while being a student. When applying back for their study financing that they were receiving, was blocked because they're not registered. So that is the reason why I would like to get some clarity. How can someone deregister someone without their permission? A student being deregistered, blocked from acquiring their study financing because they're not registered while they're away on our dime, so to speak. So that is what I would like clarity on. And I think that 2 weeks might be too late. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Duran. Prime Minister, do you need some time to, should I adjourn for 5 minutes? Yes. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have, thank God, the right technical support around me. And if with your indulgence, I will ask you to adjourn the meeting for 10 minutes, and I will come back to give answer immediately to the MP. No problem.
No problem. Meeting adjourned for 10 minutes. Good afternoon. I hereby reopen the committee meeting of General Affairs and give the floor to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, President. Coming back to the question of MP Doran, based on the basic administration law, the deregistration takes place by the individual, him or herself, or in case that person authorizes a other person to deregister him or her. That is how it must go. When students leave for school, they deregister in Sint Maarten. The law on the basic administration indicates that if you are not living here for more than 8 months a year, you have to also deregister. However, students from going to the United States that are in the United States once attending school are not deregistered. So with this situation that you indicated that has some urgency, it leaves the question what happened exactly. And this is a case that requires a further investigation to determine what transpired in this case. And I strongly encourage the individual or the families to reach out to the civil registry for us to do the necessary check on what has transpired specifically in this specific case. But coming back to your question, it's the person himself, or in case he or she authorizes somebody, then a person can be deregistered. There is, of course, at this particular moment, in the recent past, ongoing, and we will be busy with it, is the whole cleanup of the civil registries taking place now. And in this case, it can be, I'm not telling you that is the case, but it can be that in this transaction period, something could have happened that the student was, for example, if it's a student, I don't know, would have been abroad when this took place. A letter has been sent, perhaps or not. A second letter, nobody reacted, and then you are going to be deregistered. But I do not know what happened. But in principle, it's a case for us to pay urgent attention to. And I request you wholeheartedly, please, especially because it's a person working on his future, for us to for sure look with the family and or the student himself for us to make sure that we are not going to hamper the future of a person like that. So please invite the person to take contact with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I would like to thank the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Mercelina, and his support staff for their presence here today in providing the necessary information to the members of Parliament of this committee. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to an end of this agenda point. The Prime Minister has committed that he will be sending the relevant documents as requested by the members of Parliament. Once received, those documents will be provided to the members. So I thank everyone for their participation. Due to the fact that agenda point 1 still needs to be handled, this meeting will be adjourned until further notice.